Well, I'm excited to have a chance to have this conversation. This is a Rebel Press exclusive for sure. We've got international best-selling author Steve Alton here with us today. But our goal isn't to talk about the incredible books like Meg and Vostok and Sharkman and the 15 others that he's sold, or the millions of copies. Our goal is to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart. Steve is the founder of a program called Adopt an Author, which I think is amazing. I have a grade 11 education and was voted in high school most likely to go to jail. And it was the books that I've read throughout my life that are responsible for everything that I consider to be abundant today. Tell us about Adopt an Author. Tell us why it exists and where it came from.
Well, Adopt an Author happened sort of on its own. My first book was Meg, a novel of deep terror about a prehistoric great white shark called a MacLeod. And about 6 months after the book came out, I started getting inundated by emails from teenagers who were telling me that they hate reading, but they read. And not only did they read it, but they enjoyed it. And then I started getting email from teachers, English teachers and science teachers, who were using the book in their curriculum because their students were actually reading the book.
Wow.
And I realized that something was happening on its own that I needed to be a part of. And my background's in education. I have a bachelor's, a master's, and a doctorate degree in education. I'm certified a teaching coach in secondary schools. And so what I did was I sort of unionized the teachers into a project called Adopt an Author. And so any teacher who wants to become part of Adopt an Author, it's a free program. It's designed to provide teachers with free curriculum materials, tests, quizzes, vocabulary lists, posters for the classroom. And what it does, it takes it a step further that as the students are reading the book, they can contact me or the other authors by email. And when the unit's done, we provide direct communication by either Skype or in-class conference calls by speakerphone, or if it's a classroom that I can get to by car, then I'll visit the schools personally. And so since 1998, when the program's inception was, we went from 10 high schools to now over 10,000 registered teachers.
Wow.
And they're calling Adopt an Author the most successful reading program in secondary schools today.
You know, I've seen the statistics over the last 10 years that I've been developing my own love for books. There really is a challenge not just in America, but around the world with kids reading. And I think before we got into this interview, you actually alluded to it. Giving kids a chance to read current materials that they're interested in can have a profound effect in their overall abilities. Is that kind of a little bit of the core ideal that started this for you?
Yeah. The thing about reading is that if you can't read, you can't spell very well. You're not familiar with words. You can't write very well if you can't read. And so these are basic concepts and basic skills that we need in our everyday life. Mm-hmm. So reading is vitally important, but the secret to getting a teenager who doesn't want to read is to give him something he wants to read. And what amazed me is that the books that they were using in high school when I was in high school are still being used in high schools today.
Right, exactly.
Romeo and Juliet, The Scarlet Letter.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah, and how do you relate to these books? Now, if you have a choice to read those books, or a book like Meg or Vostok, with creatures in it, with intrigue, but they're still getting an education out of the book, whether it's science or whatever it might be, then it works both ways, and it gets teens excited about reading.
Yeah, as you're talking about this, I really understand at a deeper level what you're talking about. In your book Vostok, which obviously I'm excited about,
sure.
You actually take real life situations and real science and marry it together with fiction, and you call it faction.
Faction, yes.
So you're really hitting these kids on a couple of levels. Just by mere reading, they're going to understand sentence structure and grammar and spelling and communications, but they're also getting a science degree at the same time.
They're understanding that there's great descriptions about Antarctica, what makes Antarctica what it used to be like, what it's like today, that there's this incredible subglacial lake that's a freshwater lake 2.5 miles beneath the ice.
That really exists.
All these things are true. They really exist. The Russians have been trying to get down there with ice cores for years. And now a scientific team breaks through and gets down there and discovers all sorts of different life forms. And a magnetic anomaly, which exists in Vostok, which we can't explain, that is something else entirely that may in fact, be the answer to how we got on this planet and how we develop as a species.
Right. So if we have thousands and thousands of people that just happen to catch us on this show today, talk just generically about the benefit of Adopt an Author. Why would people want to get involved with it?
Well, if you're a teacher, an English teacher, science teacher, or any secondary school teacher, middle and high school, and you're interested in getting your students to read, you can go to www.adoptanauthor.com and register. You'll receive a packet of materials. You'll have access to all of our tests and quizzes and vocabulary lists and things like that. And you'll have access to our authors as well.
So there's a good message to teachers all over North America. We know that there are tens of thousands of you that have a genuine interest in helping the people that have been put under your charge, the kids. And Steve's program with his partner authors is a service that's free to you that can help to intrigue more kids in that passion that we enjoy, just reading a good book. Thanks a lot for explaining this to us today and being here.
It can keep you out of jail.
Yeah. Check it out, adoptanauthor.com.